Hi guys, it's Paula and I hope you are doing well. This is going to be my monthly update for pan in every palette. This project has been done many times by many different project panners with slightly different hashtags, slightly different concepts, but this particular project was created by Lady Pans a Lot over on Instagram. She gathered a group of us together and created a group collab. I will have people linked down below that have done this project or are doing this project for you to check out. But basically, as the name would suggest, the goal is to one day eventually have a pan in every palette. And it's a marathon, not a sprint. For me, it's a marathon, not a sprint. We are in this for the long haul, but we are making progress. We are slowly making our way towards having 100% pan percentage. We're not there yet, but we have hit some new pans over the past month, and I'm very excited to talk about. In this project specifically, I have been working on 3 palettes over the past month to focus in on, but obviously if I hit pan in other palettes in other projects, those pans count towards my pan percentage as well. I did hit a pan in one of the 3 palettes I was working on over the past month. It actually happened the day after I filmed last month's update, I believe, or 2 days after. It happened really soon, which seems to be what I do. I do an update, I talk about how close I am to hitting pan, and then 2 days later I hit pan. So I don't know why that happens, but because of that, I was able to, yes, I used it 2 more times and then I hit pan, and since then I've used it another 19 times. The product I'm talking about is this little Smashbox palette that comes from a larger palette. This is the contour and cheek part of this masterclass palette that I've had for several years. It looks like this, and now that I've hit pan, it's going to be going back in here, but for the sake of space, I just had this pulled out in my bathroom because this is a lot smaller than this. But I actually have 3 little pans showing. They're very tiny. Can you see them? There. I hope you can see them. If it's not picking up on the camera, I will throw up a picture while I'm editing. I had quite the learning curve with this product. I have always said that the product itself was good. It is a good face powder, but I've had problems with this particular pan since rolling it into this project. And this was a brand new, never used product prior to rolling it in this project. I ended up, because of this project, using it a total, hold on, let me count how many times I used it overall. So this went from being a never used pan of product to being used 68 times because of this project, which I'm very happy about. But some of the roadblocks I ran into while panning this included, 1, the brush I was using being too big for the space allotted, the mess that the product created as it spilled over onto the plastic packaging, and then an issue, which was the most frustrating issue, was almost constant hard pan with this product, which is why this panned in such a weird way. Even now, you could see that there's hard pan on half of the product. I used Scotch tape to pull off the hard pan. I scraped off the hard pan. In the end, it turns out that by just switching brushes, I was able to pretty much resolve this problem entirely. So this is your public service announcement that if you are having problems with hard pan, try switching brushes. The brush that I was using for most of this was this IT Cosmetics brush. This is it, right? No, this is a Morphe G7. This is a Morphe G7. It's a big face powder brush, and it worked well for applying face powder, but 1, it was way too big for this pan, and 2, it kept giving me hard pan. Of course, initially I did not realize that the brush was playing such an important role in the creation of that hard pan. I thought it was just the powder alone. But one day I accidentally used my bronzer brush. This is an e.l.f. complexion brush, which I prefer to use to apply my bronzer every day. And I had this in my hand, and by accident, I used it to apply this powder. And it turns out that as I was using it, the hard pan was like flaking off and disappearing. And it was picking up more product and applying more evenly. And because this brush is a little bit more pinched in and narrow, I'm not having as much problem with accessing the product in the pan. All my problems went away when I started using this brush instead of that Morphe brush, which is good to know. That being said, I have met my goal of hitting pan on this. I do have another pan. I'm so happy. And this will be rolling out of this project. I would love to find another project to put this in and just finish it off because I don't think there's a lot of product left in here. I don't think it would be too hard to finish it off. And yeah, we'll see what happens with 2024. I have not figured out any plans for setting powders for 2024, but I have officially hit pan in every palette that I own that has a setting powder. So there will not be any more setting powders making their way into this project in the future, as far as I know. So that is very exciting and a little bit scary because there was a placeholder for palettes that had setting powders in them in this project for the last couple years, and it was always a convenient thing to work on. But I cannot work on that anymore because although I do have many, many face powders, every palette that I own that has a face powder has had pan hit in it. So it wouldn't go back in this project. But I will have to find other projects to put them in, and then I can start actually using up some of these half-used setting powders in the future. So that is rolling out of this project, and I'm very excited. I did hit a second pan over the past month, not a palette that's in this project, but I did finally hit pan in this Saharan 2 by Juvia's Place. This was in my Graveyard Project pan, I believe, over the summer. And I knew I was close to hitting pan, and I knew I couldn't quit it. It turns out I wasn't that close. I had to use it for a couple more months before I hit pan, but it did finally hit pan in this aqua shade. It's kind of hard to see, but it's there. So that means I hit pan on 2 palettes over the past month. Very, very happy about that. Before I talk about pan percentage though, let me talk about the other 2 palettes I have in this project and what I am rolling in to replace that Smashbox palette. It's not looking good for the other 2 palettes. I'll tell you that right now. I didn't use them much, if at all. Ooh, no. Okay. First of all, I have my Too Faced Razzle Dazzle Berry palette. You know, I know, I'm very close to hitting pan on this, but I have not touched this at all in the past month. And if I'm not using it, I'm not hitting pan. If I'm only 2 uses away from hitting pan, I'm gonna be really mad that I dragged my feet on this. But you guys know, I've been panning looks and it hasn't incorporated this at all. Hopefully in January, I can knock this out. I don't know, we'll see. It's hard for me to sit here in December and predict what I'm gonna do in January because it's a whole nother year for project panning and all the rules change on January 1st, but hopefully I can use that a few times in January and maybe hit pan on it, but I did not use it even once in the month of December, which is a shame. The other palette that's been in this project is my Morphe 35F palette, and I only used 1 shade 1 time in the past month, and that is today. The shadow that I brought into this project thinking I was gonna try and hit pan on it is this one down here. I am actually wearing this today in my crease. This is a beautiful kind of like crease shade blended out into my transition area. I like it a lot, but I have been using this shadow quite a bit as well as an inner corner highlight, and I have this on my inner corner today as well. So I did use both of these shadows in my look for today, but that is the only time I reached for this palette at all since the last update, which is too bad. These pans are notoriously easy to hit pan on. So with just a little bit of focus, I know I could have pan in here, but I didn't focus on it at all in the past month, unfortunately. We'll see, I'll keep working on it. Since that Smashbox palette is rolling out of this project, I needed to find something new to roll in. I did also consider bringing my number back up to 4 palettes that I'm working on in this project. I would like to get back up to 4, but for this next month, I'm gonna keep it at just 3 palettes. Hopefully by my next update, I will know what I'm doing for project panning for the year and I can decide if I could bring in a 4th palette. But I figured with all this change happening over the next month, I'll just keep it at 3 for another month. But the palette that I've decided to roll in, I hope I'm making a good choice. I always hope I'm making a good choice. I don't know if I am or not. But the palette I decided to roll in for this next month is this old Sephora palette, which I'm holding upside down. I got this off the clearance section. I used to, back before I started my low buy, one of my favorite things was to shop the Sephora clearance section. I would wait for everything to go 50% off and then I would just buy whatever my little heart was leaning towards. And this was one of them. This is the Beauty of Giving Back face palette. I don't know how old it is, but I would guess it's probably 6 or 7 years old at this point. And this is a face palette with both cream and powder products in it. This is what it looks like. It is a beautiful product. I like to look at it, but it's underutilized, especially the powder products are very underutilized within my collection. I would like to hit pan, and the pan that I'm gonna be focusing on is this ombre bronzer pan. I need to work on a bronzer. I need to choose a bronzer to pan for 2024, and I've decided that I'd like it to be this one, at least to hit pan on. I think my brush will be focusing more down here, but this does go basically at the top end where it's at its lightest. It looks to be about the same shade as the highlighter. It looks pretty much the same as the highlighter, and then it kind of progressively gets deeper. It also gets more matte. So this top section is like a shimmery highlight, and down here is like a matte bronzer. So I'm thinking my focus will be, you know, down here. Maybe I'll get a little shimmer in there, but yeah, my goal is to hit pan on this bronzer. And with this palette having no pans, and I don't own a lot of Sephora brand palettes, I have no idea if these are deeper pans or more shallow pans. I have no idea how long it's gonna take me, but typically I do have a lot of success with panning bronzers relative to other face products. I have a pretty sizable forehead and I can go through bronzer faster than blush, faster than highlighter. So hopefully it won't take me too long to hit pan on this, but I'm guessing this will be in this project for several months and I'm looking forward to it. This is definitely another product that has not gotten nearly enough love, like all of my products. I feel that way about everything. Nothing's gotten enough love. Okay, let's talk about pan percentage. This has become my favorite part of these updates. Several months ago, maybe a year ago, I started tracking my pan percentage in this project with the goal of eventually having 100% pan showing in every palette I own. Why not track my progress towards getting there? At last month's update, I had 389 palettes, 39 of which had pan, giving me a pan percentage of 10%. Yes, that was so exciting. And this month I have 41 palettes with pan out of 389 palettes, which brings my pan percentage up to 10.5%. Yes, very happy, very excited. So I'm very happy to be at 10.5%. Hopefully I can hit a couple more pans over the next month. There is one, I'm still working on that Pat McGrath, you guys. That Pat McGrath is just hanging on for dear life. I'm very, very, very close to hitting pan. In fact, I feel like I saw pan over the past month and then I covered it up and it's hiding. But yeah. I don't know what happened there. It's getting to be a little bit crumbly. And so as things flake off the side, it ends up back down in the middle. I don't know what's going on. But Pat McGrath is very close to having pan. I've been using that palette quite a bit still. And, you know, there's always Too Faced Razzle Dazzle Berry. Hopefully I'll have pan in that soon. So there are possibilities for pan in my future. But there's also a lot changing over the next month, which is exciting and very unknown. I cannot predict what's going to happen with project panning over the next month. But hopefully I will continue to hit pan on whatever I'm working on. And hopefully my pan percentage will go up for next month's update. That's all I can hope for. That is going to be it for this update, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.